Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Anime Brain Freeze. We are your burnt and broken hosts.
I am John.
And I'm CC. And when there's just too much cool anime to watch, we've got you covered. Summer has come and gone, the fall anime premieres are literally at our doorsteps, so it's time for our season finale here on ABF. And what better way to bid the hot season adieu than with a scorching review of a particularly smoldering animated series, namely the first core of the third and ostensibly final season of Fire Force. And of course, as usual, we will give you our picks for best anime of the season. But before all of that, there's some leftover tidbits to talk about in The Quick and the Dead. So grab your fireproof headphones, go on a quest to forge your ultimate weapon whilst indulging in every possible RPG fantasy you had as a child, to cope with the fact that your parents abandoned you to dodge their debt collectors, went underground, had 3 more kids, for some reason didn't ever come back to get you, and then after running into you by accident abandoned you again. You poor, precious, stupid boy, I'm so sorry, you don't deserve this. You are the best this story has to offer. Why would they do this to you? Do they hate you that much? This is so horrible. Fuck them. Fuck them and their new family. You deserve better. Family now, one that at least somewhat cherishes you. You are a king, you are the Night King, and you don't need to take their shit anymore. You are loved and you are great the way you are. You are perfect. And definitely don't pause the pod. Oh, we're already back. How about that? Welcome to The Quick and the Dead. So, yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Sorry for the long break, at least between the previous episode, which hasn't been released at this point when we're recording, still in the process of editing that, and this one, which I will probably release with 1 week of break between them or something like that, but pretty much back to back. But CC did something dumb again, as usual. I slipped in the kitchen on... I think a puddle of water when I emptied my dishwasher or something, and I was running on bare feet and was going way too fast. And I'm not fucking Sonic, so that went sideways and upwards. And yeah, so I slipped, fell, and broke my fucking elbow. And had to do a bit of recuperation. And I'm still in the process of that, but I'm at the point where I can now finally... edit again. So I'll hope to release the previous episode soon, and this one pretty much right after that, and then we can hopefully get back to our more regular scheduled program. But yeah, with that being said, and my apologies out of the way, John, you have a couple of quick things you would like to talk about in The Quick and the Dead.
Mm-hmm. The first is Mono, which, again, talked about this at the top of the season. This is from the creator of Yudu Camp, and it is definitely that same energy of just cute girls doing cute things, going on to take photos of things and videos, and there's a cat that they tried to attach a camera to, like I said at the top, and boy, that didn't work out great. It's kind of a neat story because they're just going across the Japanese countryside to different vistas. You get to see, them do all sorts of stuff. Like I said, it's cute girls doing cute things, and it's just really relaxing. Definitely, a great show to wind it down with because work has been a whole thing lately, but. If you like Yudu Camp, you will probably like this show. And there's, honestly, not a whole lot to give away or talk about with it. But if you enjoy Yudu Camp, you'll enjoy this. That's pretty much the TLDR, I think.
Sounds like a chill time.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I finally got around to finishing.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie.
No. The 4K disc is still sitting right over there. Don't at me.
I'm adding you all the time, John. It's the best one of the 3. Go get to it. Jesus Christ.
Because number one, this is anime brain freeze.
Yes, I get it. I mean, I feel like Sonic has a bit of anime in his DNA. There wasn't a Sonic OVA back in the day, so there's that.
Oh god,
There's
the
Sonic.
OVA.
What was it called? Sonic.
Sonic X.
Sonic X, right? So.
There's Sonic X, there's Sonic Boom, there's Sonic Prime, there's Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean,
There's
some of
the
these are American shows, I think.
There's a Saturday morning one.
Yes.
There's Sonic Underground. There's
Yes.
no shortage of animated Sonic, and it comes in all different flavors. No, what I finished watching was Uma Musume Season 2.
Ah, all right. And how did that pan out?
Oh my god, it was so good. So the first season was about Special Week and Silent Suzuka and, their rivalry and how Suzuka eventually goes to America for her training. And this season was about Tokai Teo and Meijiro McQueen and how they're both gunning to go for an undefeated triple crown. And Teo is, she's one of the fastest horse girls in Japan until she has an injury and breaks her leg.
That sucks.
And yeah,
and she gets taken behind the barn and shot?
No.
Thank God.
No, but we'll talk about that because there's a thing to talk about with that. With one of the other girls and their real life story. Teo is, she's kind of really down on herself because, I can't race again for, I think it was a long time. I think it was like almost a year. And after that, she starts training like crazy. And McQueen is out there racing her butt off. And she's trying to get her triple crown, like I said. But there's this other horse girl, Rice Shower. And she's kind of like this. And I believe, I meant to look this up before, but I think it's supposed to be a thing at like Japanese weddings where you are showering the bride and the groom with rice as a sign of a good blessing.
Oh, we do that here
believe,
too.
Sometimes. I feel like it's less common in the West.
I mean, not rice, but flowers, I guess. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. In a way.
It's similar, but, this is specifically talking about this,
Okay.
Rice Shower is kind of soft-spoken, but, she wants to, come up in the ranks too. So she defeats this other horse girl, Mihono Bourbon, and takes her triple crown. And the crowd is sort of like, what do you mean? What do you mean this other girl won when Bourbon should have won? And Rice Shower is kind of down on herself after that because she's sort of seen as like a heel, and she starts to feel like, well, I guess maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. And until the other girl starts to say, no, you need to race and you need to, do this. You just need to go for it. You need to do the best that you can. So then she basically goes off into nature on her own and trains like crazy. And when she races McQueen at the Spring Tenno show, I believe is the race, Rice comes out of nowhere and just boom, takes the win. And the crowd is sort of like, about it again. But there's this moment where McQueen is like, nah, you did really well. So I'm glad you won. So it's like, it feels good to see. That's what this show is about. That's what it was in the first season too. These girls lifting each other up. But then when Teo and McQueen are supposed to have their next scheduled race, the Arima Kinen, McQueen, I forget what degenerative suspensory ligament dysmitis. She starts suffering. And that is like not curable. So it can be controlled, but that means McQueen will never run again. So Teo ends up going into the Kinen to go up against there was an OVA in between the first and second seasons that focused on three other girls, Biwa Hayahide, Narita Bryan, and Winning Ticket. And Hayahide is like one of the fastest out there, and she only ever comes first or second place in all her races. And Teo is, still kind of not 100% there, but she's got to win. She's got to do it because this is probably going to be her final race before she retires. And she pulls it out in the end. And it's super triumphant. It's like, yeah, that's what this show is all about. Because, it is at its core a sports anime and,
it's like
the underdog story about it.
That's what I was thinking. Like, John, is this... With my affinity for sports anime, should I watch Uma Musume? Because like it sounds like a really good sports anime, and also I recently watched like an MAD on YouTube that heavily featured scenes from Uma Musume. I don't know if it was season 1 or season 2, but it went fucking insane. It's like, do I need to watch this?
I mean, that's up to you. But you know, the animation has gotten better from the first season. Like, you know, the first season was done in big PA work, so it looked pretty good most of the way around. This season, and I believe the third season, are headed up by Studio Kai, and you could tell they took it like another step up. And they also planted the seed through this season for the main cast, the main girls for the next season, Kita-san Black and Satano Diamond. So, you know, that's coming when I eventually watch it. So, but yeah, no, it was really good, but they don't talk about one of the things that happened with Rice Shower in real life, and that was in Rice Shower's real life last race, he fell down and broke his leg and was euthanized. So,
so I wasn't that far off.
Yeah, his real life career was cut short. He was only 6 years old at the time.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, not every horse got a happy ending, but I mean, you know,
in the show, I guess, kind of. And we talked about when you talked about Uma Musume the last time, we talked about one example where there was a kind of happy ending for one of the retired horses.
Oh yeah,
got to live on its own farm, basically.
Goldship and Haru Urara got to live great lives after their retirement. So,
well, we wish that upon all future racehorses.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, great show, great season. Looking forward to whenever I watch season 3. I am slowly trying to get caught up because I believe Cinderella Grey Part 2 starts this coming season, and I won't be current, so I don't know when I'll get to watch it.
Maybe by the time season 4 of Uma Musume proper rolls around, I will have caught up to you or something. We'll see.
Because I mean, there's season 3. There's the 2 movies. God, what were they called? One was kind of cut up for TV. Okay, Road to the Top was cut up into 4 episodes for TV. Then there was Beginning of a New Era, and then Cinderella Grey. So,
Horse Girl. Yeah, literally. That definitely was very horsey, yeah.
I think I said this last time too. I didn't think a show about anthropomorphized horse girls would make me feel things, but here we are.
Yes. I mean, good sports anime do that. Like, they make you just buy into the hype and just, you know, and the feelings that come with that. So all the good sports anime that I watch do that and are good at that. So because ultimately these shows are about characters and the ups and downs of, you know, trying to strive for a certain goal and sometimes stumbling and sometimes falling, sometimes usually getting back up again, but sometimes not. So it's that those are always very engaging character stories to witness and to see. A lot about growth and a lot about discovering yourself and everything. So good sports anime do that. They're not only about who can win the gold or whatever. They're about how to get there and which characters do it and how they do it. So it seems like Uma Musume is working along those lines.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, it's kind of interesting to read about the real life stories as well as, you know, as supplemental material, as it were, even though that's the real truth of the stories. But yeah, watch Horse Girls. Good show.
Watch Horse Girls. Show. Play Horse Girls, I guess. It's also possible.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that maybe at some point.
Okay. Yes.
So, what do you got for us?
Well, not much, but I went to the movie theater, to an IMAX theater to be exact, and watched the newest, or the first of the 3 Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movies, with a packed house. Like that movie theater, it was really tough to get those tickets, actually. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, because initially, like, these are always usually air over here as specials, and they already put it up for like a week. But when the tickets went live, it crashed their fucking server. And I spent I spent like 3 hours or more like into the night trying to get these, because they went online like at 12. So I expect, nobody's gonna be awake for this. Yeah.
So you thought.
Weeps don't sleep, bitches. It was fucking horrible. But eventually I got my tickets. So David wanted to join, but he went, his vacation interfered with that, so he's gonna watch it on Monday after this recording. So I'm looking forward to hearing his impression. But I went with another friend of ours who's also big into anime, and his colleague, and the colleague had a problem because he didn't know Demon Slayer. Like, I was like, why are you here? I watched a recap halfway, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, have fun.
That's a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, well, it was, and it elicited the reaction. I expected mostly confusion and partially like, oh, this doesn't work for me, right? Because he couldn't emotionally engage with any of the characters because he didn't know them, right? That's totally fine. I expected that. But me and the other guy, we fucking loved it. This is, bar none, one of the craziest visually intense anime movies I've ever seen. It is right from the get-go, which was to be expected considering the stage for these movies, which is the Infinity Castle, like the technically the demon realm of this show, where you have like these constantly shifting castle or city landscapes, whatever, like buildings moving around all the time. So you have a lot of three-dimensional space. This is constantly shifting and changing by this one of the demons who can use her instrument, and if she strums one of the strings, like the stage basically changes again, like the layout of the castle changes again. So that happens constantly, and the show employs that the best way possible by setting a bunch of intense battles in that setting. And as you would expect from a movie level UFO table production, I mean, we technically already saw that with the Demon Train arc, because there was also a movie first and then got adapted for the TV version. And I watched the movie version. You only watched the TV version, right? That's how it worked out. Of that. But like I already told John over Discord, I recommend everyone to see this in the movie theater. This was made for the big screen because there's so much fucking happening. If you watch this on the small screen, this will probably be overload. I mean, it can be overload too if you watch it on the big screen, because it's just so fucking Titanic, and like just the especially in IMAX, like the screen is so big and just this filling out your whole field of view and everything. But it was amazing. Like, it was definitely one of the best movie-going experiences I had, because of the crowd as well, of course. Because usually when you watch normal movies in movie theaters, you can flip a coin if you have some assholes in the crowd that ruin the shit for you. I never had this with watching anime, because everyone who is there definitely wants to be there and definitely is very much engaged with the material. So when there was fucking nothing, like when there was silence, when there was no, the soundtrack also amazing in this again, when there was no, sound, when there was no talking and everything, aside from a couple of cuffs, you could hear a needle drop in that fucking theater with like, I don't know how many fucking people there were. Like, it's a huge ass theater. Like, I don't know how many hundred, whatever. But just the crowd was thoroughly engaged. There were some laughs at the right moments. There was clapping at the end, and it was just great. And the movie itself, like I said, also fantastic. Like, of course, it's not finished, right? Because it's going to be 3-part. So we have a couple of smallish fights against a couple of grunts, but also some of the demons that we've already been introduced to. Some of that fights are finished, some are not. There's also a lot of flashbacks in that movie that give us a bit more insight into some of the characters we haven't quite come to know yet fully. which is really good, especially the final flashback, which is very lengthy, which happens at the tail end of the movie and takes up a lot of time, actually, which I didn't expect, which I assume is like one or two episodes of the TV adaptation. And they kind of put that at the end there, as the finale, because there's not really much fighting happening after that. So they end off kind of more of a big emotional note than a big climactic super fight. So that happens before that, and it's fucking insane. But yeah, I got everything out of this that I wanted. I got spectacular fights. I got an expansion on a lot of the character backgrounds. Even Zenitsu wasn't annoying in this, which is an achievement. So,
what?
Yes, it's crazy. He has a cool moment. He has a cool scene and everything, and he is not annoying. So that's even more than I could have asked for. So, hooray! Yeah, it's a great time. It's a blast. The soared to the top of the Japanese and international movie charts, of course, because of how many people wanted to see it. So be one of those people. I recommend it wholeheartedly. We will talk more extensively about this once it has been adapted into the TV version, because by then John will probably have seen it, and I can't wait to hear your opinion on this, but I think you will have a good time, because this is just insanity in the best possible way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't get out to theaters too often. So.
I know. It's just and you don't have to. I'm just saying, for this, from my perspective, it would be worth the trip. Even if you have to go alone, maybe if you can't rope anyone else in, which I was lucky to do that, but I also would have seen it on my own, of course. But it was definitely worth it. And considering that we both weren't the biggest fans of Demon Slayer in when the show started, had some problems with it here and there because it was too standard in certain ways, then some annoying characters and everything. But this is a whole movie of what the show is best at, which is great intense battles and then some really good character backgrounds that they sprinkle in there for some of these characters. And thankfully, almost nothing of the annoying stuff that still pops up in the series occasionally. There is some comedy in there and, some wacky bits, but those all kind of work. And all the annoying stuff with Zenitsu and everything and all the, the shit, what's her name? There's no wonder I forgot her name again. The sister of Tanjiro.
Oh, Nezuko.
Nezuko, yes. She is, of course, again, not really in this, which is a problem, again, in my opinion.
She's sort of key to the story at this point, isn't she? How is she not?
She is, in there for half a minute or something. It's crazy, but it doesn't matter because you don't think about it in the moment, because it's there's so much cool shit happening. There's just non-stop cool shit happening in this. And it ends on a cool note. Of course, like I said, cliffhanger, but it's here, this is what you're probably going to get next. So look forward to that whenever that movie is hitting. I don't know if that's going to be next year or the year after that. I don't know how long they will take. Take all the time that you need, UFO please. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's just a blast. It's just a fun time. You're never bored, and the pacing is not bogged down by trying to fit it into a specific episode format, though I'm pretty sure they already structured the movie in a way where it would work as a TV adaptation without having to add that much to certain episodes to make the cutoff points work and everything. So very much looking forward to how they continue this. But this is turning into the long and the dead. So I'm going to stop talking about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1 now. Watch it, everyone who likes Demon Slayer or who just likes great action anime. You will not be disappointed. I'm very, very sure of that. With that being said, let's get to the big review for this episode.
Right. So, Fire Force Season 3. We just jump right back in with the barest minimum of recap.
Yeah, just a character reintroduction, right? Which is what they did at the beginning of Season 2. Was here are the characters, but not really any recap of what happened in the previous seasons. Not much, anyway.
Yeah, because there were quite a few things that happened. But kind of pick up after Shinra and Arthur had gone through Benimaru's training. Obi was kidnapped by the MPs under the influence of the Whiteclads, and how Maya is kind of starting to brainwash people, the leadership of the Tokyo Empire, and that's a bad. So basically, this season should be called The World versus Company 8.
Yes.
Maybe not the entire world, but it feels pretty close.
I mean, they get like... First, Obi, their captain, right, is taken prisoner, and Maya has some plans for him. And then Company 8 is just going underground, trying to hide, so they don't... I think the military is supposed to get Shinra and bring him to, the Whiteclad, bring them to the Holy Soul Temple, who is now in cahoots with the Whiteclad and with the Evangelist. And because Shinra is one of the pillars, he's one of the instruments, one of the key factors or things they need to enact a second cataclysm. And of course, they need him for that. And for that to not happen, just the whole gang runs and or escapes and hides so that they don't get to him really. And I think the media, led by probably the Holy Soul Temple or the government or whoever is responsible, is cock up a whole story about how he's being abducted by Company 8, like how they are the bad guys, that Shinra is not doing this willingly or whatever. And that's kind of... And then they have to formulate a plan. Okay, how are we going to stop all of this shit? How are we going to get our captain out of there, especially once they learn what Haumea's plans are for him?
Government media control. Interesting topic.
Absolutely not contemporary.
No, not...
Yeah. So...
I don't... Listen, this story was not written then.
No.
But...
It feels very fitting that it's coming out now, yes.
It's a little prescient. Kind of like parts of Lazarus's story were maybe... if it had released 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, it feels like there's a lot to cover with this season, but also at the same time, it feels like there isn't, because they just sort of hit the ground and keep going.
Yes.
But they also only covered about 40 chapters by my count. And to the end of the series after that is like another 80 or 90.
Yeah, that's one of the things that is worrying me. So... just to get the negative stuff out of the way first, before we get into the plot details, which, I mean, there is a bit of, like you said, there's a bit happening here, but also half of the season is fights. So I rewatched season 1 and 2 in anticipation of this, because I was like, okay, I remember really liking season 1 and 2. I'm completely blanking on a lot of the story details. I could listen to our reviews, but I feel like, hey, if this is the final season, maybe I should just, start this, and the final bit is coming in January, so that's not that far off, so it makes sense to just go back to season 1 and 2 and watch those. And I did that, and I had a fantastic time with it. I fell in love all over again with this show. I was like, hey, season 1 and 2, fantastic seasons. Like, both super enjoyable in their own right, super high quality, great animation, great fights, fantastic color palette, great soundtrack, great sound editing, design. It's all there. It's like a really good shonen show, fantastic characters, all that. Like, I just had a fantastic time with season 1 and 2. So I was thoroughly hyped going into season 3. And up to that point, I had only watched the first episode of that. And the first episode, the first couple of seconds start out really promising, really good. When we get like the recap character introduction, we have all the characters jumping around, fighting, and it looks pretty much on par with season 1 and 2. And after that, it takes a nosedive animation-wise. And I think John and I are a bit on a different opinion on this. Maybe colored by me going back and watching season 1 and 2 and coming fresh off that and having a direct comparison. I think this show for this season, for most of its runtime, is an incredible downgrade in terms of animation quality. So we have several fights in this, of course, and you had this in the previous season where you have like the kind of smaller fights, maybe with some sub characters. Some of those look not as good as the main stage, right? But you definitely had some standout fights where it's like, okay, this is the main fight of this little mini arc or this part of the season or whatever, and this one will look exceptionally good. And so when like the first couple of fights, when they like, because they learned that the White Clad wanna basically inject Obi with one of those insects that turns people into infernals or flame users, firepower users, whatever you want to call them. They want to inject him with that, and this might kill him, of course. This might turn him into infernal, so the gang wants to stop that and wants to raid the prison where he's held. Mm-hmm. So you would imagine, okay, this leads to a bunch of fight, and this does. And when the first couple of seconds look not of those fights look not as good, I was like, okay, maybe they will keep that up. They need to cut some corners, even though the previous season didn't really do it that much for the standouts fights. But that is also not the case. Like, aside from the first couple of seconds of the first episode, the animation in the first 3 episodes is really bare bones compared to season 1 and 2. And then episode 4 rolls around. We have a fight with Tamaki against Gold. We have Arthur against Dragon, which is like this new white-clad destroyer guy. I don't think he's a pillar. But that all looks not good. Like, there's one good but very short Sakuga scene in episode 5 where Arthur fights Dragon. But at that point, so far, that was about it. And I was like wondering, did some of the heavy hitter better animators get moved to another project? Maybe Steel Ball Run, which is gonna happen in the not too distant future, and that is one of the biggest JoJo's arcs, so maybe they had some people move to that. But I didn't look it up. I intended to, but I didn't get to it. I want to compare like the best animated episodes from season 1 and 2 and see if those people or some of these people are still around in season 3, but it didn't feel like it.
I mean, just looking at the list of animation directors between season 2 and 3, there's a lot of different names going from one season to the next. At a quick glance, I don't think I see any of the same names.
Yeah.
So
it feels like they relegated either those people just generally moved on from David Production. Maybe a lot of these were freelancers. I don't know. Or they moved on to another project. Maybe Steel Ball Run will look appropriately awesome. I hope so. Then at least this would have gotten any merit out of this situation. But it's like even Shinra's fight against Burns, which was like heavily teased that this would eventually happen at some point back from the end of season 1. Even their fight looks only okay. There's some decent camera work that makes the animation seem more dynamic than it actually is, but their first square off in season 1 was much more impressive looking. It just feels janky, stiff, and flat. Like, this needed to be spectacular, and it's sadly anything but. And this sadly applies to most of the character animation in the season as well. It's way stiffer and juddery than in the first 2 seasons. Like, general artwork, colors, environments are still all great. It looks fantastic. The lighting and shading is maybe in some parts not as impressive. But, there was some moments that were not as wow-inducing in season 2 in that regard. But it's still great. Like, it's still mostly, you look at these characters and just in still frames, they look great. They're still sharp. Like the color palette when you have sunsets, and the whole town, like all of Tokyo tinged in like this orange and everything. And you have the nice complementary contrast with the blue on the fire uniforms and everything. It still looks cool. It still looks great. And you're like, okay, but it season 1 and 2 also had incredible action scenes. And this season is a giant step down in that regard, which was a huge bummer for me because I hate it when shows like can't deliver in their final stretch. And that is the stuff that you remember. That is the stuff you like. If there's a shitty beginning to a show and it gets better later on, you remember how well the show ended and how it wrapped up. And in this case, it feels like, oh no, will the last part also look as bad? I mean, hey, maybe the good people worked on the second part and we're gonna, because they couldn't manage it any other way. And we get like a huge action blowout in the final part in the last season. But there's so many factors like, this is probably not gonna happen. Also, what you said, John, there's like 80 chapters or something left for 12 episodes. And
it's gonna have to either be season 3, part 3, or they're gonna have to separate out some, because otherwise they'll be rushing through it too much. And like, I feel like I enjoyed this season, but it felt like it didn't know what pace it wanted to go at.
Yeah, that's
and this is, I feel like this is something we should be saying at the end, but I feel like it also bears saying up front as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And we can bring that up after we get to the plot, which there's not that much happening in it, but there's enough happening, substantial stuff happening to talk about. But yeah, I was already worried about this season when I saw the first trailer for it, but I thought they were keeping the blockbuster fight scenes for the actual show. Nope, apparently not. And sure, season 1 and 2 had the occasional shortcuts and small fight scenes that displayed more limited animation, like I said, but all the fights or moments that needed to look impressive looked hella impressive. Season 3 has nothing like that. There is like one episode, a fight at the very end of the season where we have like this giant fight against this giant titan mech-ish creature, kaiju thing, where there's some cool work, 3D animation work when the artillery fires at that thing. That looks really good because they employ the CG very well with the projectiles fired. It is some nice camera work and Juggernaut firing at it, and we're really happy to see him back because we didn't know if he survived because he was heavily dismembered at the end of season 2, and they didn't walk that back. Like, he got artificial limbs. So that was pretty awesome. Him coming back as kind of a cyborg in a way. But yeah, that scene looked great, and we also have some cool action scenes with Ogon and Kurono in there. Like small bits that look really good. It was so funny to me when they, after that episode, when they get to the next episode, they do a recap and only show the well-animated moments in that recap. It was like, it was like, yeah, you need to show that.
This is where we spent the money.
Yeah, this is because that's the only really well-animated scenes in this fucking show, aside from the first couple of seconds of the first episode. So, I mean, it's like, hey, maybe we get more of that in the next season, right?
Yeah, because maybe that's what they're saving it for.
Maybe, because, you know, if like most of the last 80 chapters of this are just fights, which could be the case, we could just get a giant action blowout for the last 12 episodes, and maybe they put all the A stuff on that because they were like, hey, we can't do it for the entire show. It's not possible. We don't have the people. We're stretching us too thin. We're doing JoJo's at the same time and maybe something else. So
yeah, I was about to ask, what else? Are they working on something else besides JoJo right
I don't
now?
know.
Do you know?
I'm not sure. But, you know, that could be the case where it's like, okay, we can only do one part of this right. So we're going to do the finale right and have all the action super Sakuga stuff in there and have the right people on it. But I'm also not sure that that's what's happening. So we'll see. This is something we have to wait for. But yeah, there's so many examples in this, mostly in the fight between Shinra and Burns. Like, best example is when Shinra unleashes like his death weight attack that he kind of learned at the tail end of the previous season and breaks through Burns' defense, who at the same time goes stage V or whatever, stage 5, and has this lion form that is supposed to look cool and imposing, and everything turns black and white. The effect work is still kind of good. It's still there, but the animation is so weirdly stiff the choreography is so clunky and the cinematography is so bland that all of this is missing a sufficient impact. Same for the sound effects, weirdly, in that scene. Like, there's some moments where it's like, okay, this should have the usual oomph, but it doesn't. And I don't know why. Like, why are these people not here that were there in the first 2 seasons? What happened?
It's the same sound director, though.
Yes, exactly. But it's super weird that maybe it was a rush job, maybe something didn't work out, something went wrong in the mix or everything, or it just felt lesser because the accompanying animation wasn't up to par. So, I don't know. It's just the whole season, you get the feeling that it's trying to, okay, in the next scene, next fight, in the next episode, we're gonna have the big thing, the big fight, the big cool looking shit, and it never gets there. It never gets there. Where in the first 2 seasons you constantly had this. And for every character, actually, like every character had a standout fight, really well out made its fight scenes. Hinawa, Maki, and Shinra, of course, he had the most one. Ogun had an incredible fight in the second season, with the second reactor site where they are, discover Pi and everything. And he fights this one Demon Infernal, and that fight, Jesus Christ, that looked so fucking cool. Nothing like that is in this season. Nothing. Especially not at that length. Like I said, there's a few snippets at the very end and at the very beginning, but everywhere else where it needed to be, like the whole fight between Arthur and Dragon, which is still the best the show looks in that particular mini arc in the prison raid. But the fight between Shinra and Burns needed to be a showstopper. That needed to be the blockbuster fight of this show, probably, because it was so heavily teased, and these are the 2 powerhouses in this show. And it looks like it looks, and you're like, what? This is such a bummer. And this is my biggest problem with this season. There's a couple of other problems, like John already alluded to, in terms of pacing and everything, but I would be able to look past that if the animation was there, but it isn't. And that's such a bummer, especially coming out of rewatching season 1 and 2 and having such a great time with it. And then season 3 is just a lackluster experience. And that bumped me out.
I'm looking at something now that apparently they had a show that aired right after this, that like apparently just wrapped, called Onmyo Kaiten Rebirth.
Hadn't heard about
Kingdom Hearts name. But I would hope that didn't cut into the production of this somehow.
I don't know.
I mean, you said when we were talking on Discord that maybe they might be sort of juggling too much at once. And
maybe. Like stretching themselves too thin.
Holy Jesus, I'm looking at the list of animation directors for this show. It's like double the length of Fire Force Season 3.
Well, maybe try to see if there's some overlap with Season 1 and 2 in regards of the names. Then we have our culprit. I don't know. We can edit it in after the fact or as a small info on Blue Sky, whatever. But that could be
look like it at a first glance, but even so.
And maybe, again, I didn't also check the staff list of Steel Ball Run, so maybe some of the people from season 1 and 2 of Fire Force moved over to that. That could also be the case. Maybe something else happened.
It might be too early to get that comprehensive of a staff list for Steel Ball Run, so we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I mean, we can put that in the Steel Ball Run review, which will happen, of course.
Yes.
Because we are both JoJo heads. But yes, it's still, either way, no matter what the reason for this is, even if it's an understandable one, it's still a bummer. It doesn't change the fact that this season looks subpar, especially compared to season 1 and 2, which looked spectacular. And it's like, why does this have to happen in the final stretch? Why, like, other management is, I mean, sometimes things just don't work out, but it's just so frustrating when this happens in the final stretch of a show.
Yeah.
And again,
I didn't go back and watch the first 2 seasons, so I'm going off your word on this, but
just trust me.
It's
night and day. It's really night and day. if you put the most impressive fights, and there's so many in the first 2 seasons of that, next to whatever this season has to offer. Even the well-animated bits, like they're so short in this. They're so just a couple of seconds. And in the previous 2 seasons, you have like just several entire fights that are on that animation level. Like you're like, oh Jesus. It's just can't change it, but you can still bitch about it, which I'm doing. But with this out of the way, we can go into the plot. This was my biggest thing I had to say about this season. And again, maybe the second part will look better. I don't know. We'll see. I hope it. Definitely.
Hopefully,
but yeah, there is, like, animation isn't the only thing the first 2 seasons of Fire Force had to offer. They also had pretty cool characters and a pretty cool story. So how about that? What is happening in that regard in this season? So one of the first bits that jumped out of me was we get a confirmation that Yona, the weird art guy from the White Clad, was the one posing as, the founder of the Holy Soul Temple, Raffles the First, the entire time. And because I rewatched season 1 and 2, I immediately was like, holy shit, did Arthur already reveal in season 1 that Yona would be the one to pose as Raffles? And yup, he did. He said the first time he encounters that fucker, he's like, that guy is weird. He wears a fake face, and that's not his true face. I smell it. And it was like, what? In the first season, you make nothing of that. And it's like, holy shit. They foreshadowed that heavily, that he would be the guy who was doing the machinations in the background. And he's definitely the weirdest guy. He seems to be from Adela, right? Because he looks so fucking alien with his true face. And we haven't gotten his full story yet, which I assume will happen in the final part if they don't cut that short or something. But yeah, and Arthur also powers up by imagining having acquired the most powerful RPG equipment. Absolute legend. So, like you said already in the introduction, we have the White Clad imprisoning Obi, abducting and imprisoning him via the military police, who is now under their control. I mean, to the outside world, it feels like the Holy Temple has forged an allegiance with them, but like you said, Haumea can control minds. Well, kind of. Her ability is interesting.
More like just the power of suggestion.
Yes, suggestion, empathy in a way. Like her ability, Talking Heads, is very interesting because instead of a straightforward mind control, she's more like manipulating the emotions she picks up from people to bend their will in her favor.
Is that what they called it? Talking Heads? I don't remember.
Yeah. Talking Heads.
Man, that's a JoJo stand name because that's just a band.
Well, there you go. I mean, I feel like we had several band references in Fire Force to a degree. I mean, we have music reference, we have corner stuff and everything that Shinra throws up for one of his special moves.
Yeah.
So there's some rock and roll stuff in here.
I mean, it's not as it's not as as pointed,
not as omnipresent as in JoJo's.
Yes. That's a better way to say it.
JoJo's is all about music, like in every possible way. Every fucking name is a reference to something, a song, an album, a band.
What's the name of your stand? Aerosmith. Mm-hmm. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, not in the American version.
Oh, God. Don't. No.
Little bummer. So it's what she does to Burns to convert him to the White Clad's beliefs and goals, which is to turn the world into a new sun. Like, she uses his own beliefs, because he's a very stout believer in, the teachings of the Holy Soul Temple. She uses his teachings against him to make him work for them. And she does this to several other people. I would assume also to the head of the church and everything. And it's really interesting. This I can already mention this here, but that happens pretty much at the very end of the show. We get a very interesting short glimpse into what this power / curse actually does to her. Like, we see her in several parts in this season, closed off in a room, just screaming in agony, like complete pain. She's drooling from all the pain. It's just almost not bearable for her, and you're wondering what is happening. You can guess because and you see a confirmation of that in the last episode, in the penultimate episode of this first core of this third season. She cannot properly filter all the voices she can hear through her power. So she is, at least when she needs to use them, I guess, maybe not all the time, but maybe all the time. It's not clear. Maybe all the time. She hears all these fucking voices in her head blasting at full volume, and it's you would go insane if that happened to you. Like, and she somehow powers through it. Maybe her weird crown headband thing also protects her a bit from that, but it mostly doesn't, apparently. And if
I wondered about that, because it's not. I figured that crown thing would have some purpose. Maybe it doesn't.
I'm not sure. Maybe it amplifies the other side of her power set, which is like her having electrical powers, right? It could be like a conductor in some kind, in some way, and works in that regard. Maybe it amplifies some of her powers. Maybe that's the reason why she's in so much pain, because maybe it amplifies her empath, her mind-reading powers. But the flip side of that is, right, that she hears all the voices so very loud because she hears all of them. Because she needs to, for some reason, to make her suggestion powers work. That could be the case, right?
Maybe they will eventually expand on that.
Maybe. I hope so. It would be interesting to see. But that's an interesting power set. It's always nice to see, hey, here's this super powerful character, but their power has a huge downside. Makes this whole thing much more interesting. And I wonder, maybe it's not as problematic when she has someone to focus her power on, because she can focus on their voice specifically and filter out all the other noise, but she can't do that all the time. So when she doesn't have anyone, that would have been an interesting thing to add to her relationship with Charon, because he's one of the coolest characters in this show, on the villain side anyway. And him just maybe talking to her would help her, like, block out the other voices and reduce the pain. But it doesn't seem like that's what's happening, because she doesn't really want to talk to him most of the time. So, but yes, that's much for her. So she, converts Burns and has him, imprison Obi and everything. And we see a flashback when we go into how we have had several flashbacks between Obi and Hinawa, and how much of a tight unit they are, and how Obi, like, it's nice to see in this flashback, in this particular one that jumped out at me, to see him saying that he'd have no problem with Hinawa having either a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And this is not diffusing the allegations of Obi being the dad and Hinawa being the mom of Company 8.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, I mean, they do a couple of fun bits in regards to relationships in this. Like, there's this small talk between the entirety of Company 8 and some other ones, like Captain Hibana is also there, when they talk about who would work best in a relationship with who at the final episode of this, or the one before that, which is also very funny, and it's very like, interesting you would say that. I mean, a lot of this stuff is obvious, and Iris is definitely the most funny thing here, like basically throwing gasoline in the fire, like whole canisters, while smiling.
She knows what she's doing.
Oh, she absolutely. And I think Maki comments on that. It's like, these innocent types are absolutely dangerous, or something like that. So it's great, like, but it's really nice to see all the character. Maki is into Hinawa, of course, and Hibana is into Shinra, but also maybe some of these characters maybe would match with other characters better, and so on. I really hope Shinra is not getting together with Tamaki by the end of this. Jesus fucking Christ. It could happen.
I mean, yeah, there could be worse choices, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just
like, Tamaki is a good girl, but
we'll get to her. Jesus fucking Christ.
That's why I say she is what she is.
Yes. I blame Okubo for all of this. Because it's his manga. And he wrote her this way. And it's just mean. It's just so mean how he treats the character. Maybe he has a grudge against these kind of characters, and I get it. I don't like Tsundere particularly well either, but holy shit, he hates her guts. The way this Tamaki is treated through the entirety of this story, like she's the biggest downside of Fire Force. The humor quote unquote that comes from her character and how all her ambitions and her potential of progressing, of evolving from that are sabotaged, especially in this season, is an insult. It's
rough.
It's tragic. So yeah, but before that, like I said, the false accusations of Obi kidnapping Shinra and holding him hostage are spread by the public news program and taken at face value by most of the people. Also, a lot of the other Fire Force people in the other companies, which was kind of disheartening to see.
Well, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I get it, but also, like, you've worked with these people and you're just jumping to conclusion because a fucking news anchor tells you. Think for yourself, you fucking idiot. Like the one
Do your own research.
Yeah, the one guy in August's team pissed me off. Like, he's like, when he says about, first he's like, yeah, I believe that Obi kidnapped him. And then he's like, when they want to rescue Shinra, he killed his family. Why would he can't be trusted. It's like, what the fuck? What? Are you just contrarian, or are you just a fucking idiot because you want to be? Like, holy shit. I guess it makes sense that some of the stuff in his hair is red, like make Fire Force great again, or what the fuck.
Oh no.
It's horrible. But yeah, I mean, Ogan pulls him to his side, I guess, but still, like, what a piece of shit character. Anyway, Licht finally reveals to the 8 that he has been working with Joker to unravel the truth from the shadows, which we knew from the first season on, of course, because the viewer got to see more of that than the other people. And from that, an uneasy alliance is formed. Like, Joker and the 8th raid Fuchu Penitentiary, where Obi is being held captive. Shinra and Joker are the advanced team that will also function as a distraction, while the others sneak and get Obi out. Arthur comes in a bit late due to reasons. But, you know, it's nice. He dreams about becoming a Dragon Slayer, and then he kind of gets to try to be that. He hasn't achieved it yet, but I assume that's going to happen in the next part, that he's going to slay the new character Dragon. Get into him a bit later. But the main centerpiece, fight and character relation, everything is, of course, Burns and, you know, crucifying fucking Obi there and trying to inject him with the insects and everything. And I guess him shifting allegiances, aside from all the Hermea's mind manipulation stuff, kind of works, I guess. First, of course, you know, there's what I just said, Hermea's influence, but also him being able to witness Adola firsthand must have been a truly religious experience for such a devout believer in the existence of any kind of god. Like, we later see in a flashback in episode 6 that he was an absolute faithful believer in Soul, and he prayed day in and day out. But considering things got worse and worse for humanity, he probably, at least subconsciously, over time got the impression that his prayers are not being answered by his God. He can't psychologically tolerate the idea that his prayers and faith were insufficient, so he just turns toward the one somewhat undeniable existence of a higher being that was presented to him. You know, which is the evangelist, I guess, and Adola, and, you know, everything that comes from that. And he just switched his belief to the god that he was able to get an actual glimpse of, and that proved its power through all the atrocities committed by the White Clad. I guess Burns was like, well, that's a good argument for the one and only true God being on your side, so I'll go with that and switch over to your side. It's a very interesting take on a crisis of faith, I think, which, of course, is the obvious other reading of this that is verbalized by Shinra and Joker. like Burns could not bear all the suffering in the world, so he gave up on his faith and converted to a belief he could see and touch. And, you know, it feels like Shinra and Joker convince him of that being the case, and seeing that he's doing dumb shit right by the end before he gets, like, abducted, killed, whatever, by his doppelganger, taken to Ardala, whatever happens there.
I gotta say, Voltage Nova had about 2 more stages to it than I was expecting.
Yes. Wish
like, it just kept going.
I wish it looked as good as it could have, or as good as in season 1, like the first stage of that.
It just sort of kept going, and I was like, oh,
okay.
What do you mean there's another? What do you mean we're going Super Saiyan 6?
Yeah. You know. And with the animation budget and people on this that we had in season 1 and 2, this probably would have been like the most kick-ass Super Saiyan form outside of Dragon Ball ever. Like having like the most intense shit happening, and him and Shinra clashing really, really violently. And with this, is kind of like evaporates mostly. We have some good bits between Karen and Haumea. He is a good protector. He can't bear having to watch Haumea suffer. You know, whatever she's doing would cause her so much pain, even if it's not blocking, being able to block out the other voices, or accumulating the collective unconsciousness, or what it's called. It's causing her severe pain, which troubles him greatly. I always like when we have villains that feel sympathetic to each other, that don't hate like everyone's guts. We have that also. Like, we have villains in there that are just, I hate all of you and stuff like that, right? I don't care about you. But Karen and Haumea's relationship is really interesting, and I like that he's like this big brother or father figure to her and just wants to protect her. We have that with Arrow and Show as well, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of nice when the villains aren't antagonistic to one another. Like, they make your villains feel like a team, man.
Yes, exactly. Like, you can get so much more interesting stuff out of your villains actually having a working relationship and not trying to backstab each other all the time. And I'm so sick of that. And that's done so many times. Like, I was the main mastermind all along, and you were only part of my game and plan. You can do that. Can be cheesy fun, but it's so much more emotionally interesting and potentially rewarding if you have a good character relationship on the villain side, like proper motivation based in that relationship, which is probably why Karen is doing what he's doing, because he just wants to protect the person that is most important to him. And that is cool. And like I said, you have that with Show and Arrow too. Like, at the end of the season, we have Show like trying to meet up with his brother, and he's like, don't obstruct me, Arrow, or I'll kill you. And she's like, I'm just, you are my mission. My mission is to protect you. I don't care about anything else. If you we go there, and I don't care about the orders of the higher white clad, about Haumea's orders and everything. I am a straight Arrow, and I was shot in the direction of protecting you, and that's where I'm gonna go, and I don't care about anything else. And it was nice. It was like, okay, that's cool. That's really neat. Like, she's just a devoted protector. And I just like this kind of stuff. I like these kind of partnerships, these somewhat not maybe devoted, yes, but also these somewhat heartfelt to an extent loyalty-based relationships between characters on the villain side. I like when villain characters, of course, hero characters too, but you have that there all the time. On villains, it's much less common to have like this feeling of loyalty between these teammates, these assembled these characters that strive for a common goal. And I really like when shows do that. I think that's always great. So, glad to see this in here. Definitely one of the good parts of the season, again, to have these the villains being more, I guess, slightly being made more slightly sympathetic in that regard. At least some of them. But yeah, the second team made up of Tamaki, Hinawa, Maki, later Arthur, Licht, and Iris, right? They have to fight Gold, the white-clad destroyer with magnetism-ish powers who killed and crucified Captain Haig, or Hog, or whatever he is called. The old guy with the weird masochism fetish. That was her. She can control every metal weapon the team uses or throws at her, which is quite troublesome. But yeah, we have that, and then we have another big disappointment in this season, and that is the person that is supposed to fight her and take her down is Tamaki. And with all the fuss being made at the end of season 2 for Tamaki ostensibly finally becoming a force to be reckoned with in battle, it's kinda very disappointing to see that her first big attack doesn't do shit, and that it's not her speed that helps her evade Gold's attacks, which she, that's all, like, the last 2 episodes of season 2, besides training Arthur and Shinra in the Deathweight ability, were her learning to actually be a force to be reckoned with in the fights. Like her upgrading her speed to a degree so she could have almost power on the same level as the 2 twin girls from Company 7. The wards of Benimaru and Konro. She played tag with them and got super fast and everything, managed to clad herself in this weird fire cat armor. And that when I saw that at the end of season 2, I was like, oh, okay, she's going to have a standout fight in this season. No. I mean, she tries to do a thing, but it does, like I said, it doesn't do shit. And then she has like this thing, like her she stripped off her pants again. And because that makes her lose her belt buckle, Gold can't throw her around anymore. And it's funny in that regard that everyone gets rid of their pants after that. And Hinawa loudly proclaims that they post every year for the nude calendar, so they have no shame to worry about this. So that was a nice bit. I will agree to that. But like the humiliation of Tamaki will not stop at this point. Now at this point they're using her ass as a cooking stove, which makes it look like she's letting out a giant pink fart at some point, and it's so demeaning.
Yeah.
It's so, like, I expected her to have this kick-ass fight against any kind of white clad, and it would have been nice. I mean, she didn't have a particular relationship to Captain Hawk or something like that, so someone else might have been more interesting, but still, it would have been cool to see her fight like a powerful white-clad character and take them out, which we didn't really have from her. She was also always one of the also-rans in the fights. But I was expecting, like, now she has the power, now she has the speed, she can do it. And then her fight is, again, turned into a giant fucking joke again. And then was just... Why are you doing this to this poor girl? I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't like her character type, but it doesn't mean that you can treat her like shit the entire series. It's like... And don't give me the hope that you're finally gonna turn this around and turn it into a proper character force to be reckoned with, like someone with a real cool power set, and then you just turn it around and make her a joke again. That sucks. That really sucks. I hated this. I hated this so much.
I mean... I like Tamaki, but she just gets constantly done so dirty.
Yes.
And it's like, come on, man, let her have like one moment. And maybe she'll get that closer to the end. Maybe. I'm crossing my fingers here.
The problem is she also doesn't really have any stake in any of this, right? We got her background story in season 2, and that was pretty good. But like, she doesn't have a direct rivalry with anyone on the villain side, right? I think most of this, aside from Arthur now with Dragon, okay, Maki, I don't know really. We have Vulcan, who has a rivalry with Giovanni, so we could have a tag team where Vulcan is involved, right? And then with some of the others, and Shinra and technically, I guess Shinra with everyone else. There are a couple of things, but she's one of the characters where it's like, you don't, at least at this point, don't have a direct... the person who took out Juggernaut is already dead. So that's past. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll get that in the second part, but for now, her character has been done dirty again. Thankfully, Lisa is interfering with her own magnetism powers, which I didn't remember she had, and I just watched season 1 and 2 back to back, so, And then that distraction leads to Hinawa no-scope headshotting Gold, which is pretty cool, but it could have looked so much cooler with proper animation quality. So, yeah. But then we have Arthur, who just casually walks up and takes out Stream, which is the next White-clad destroyer they have to fight with wind powers or whatever, in one hit. That was badass. Also looked pretty okay. On the other side of things, there's the Burns fight happening. We have a funny bit where Obi worked out so much in his cell that the insect can't get through his muscles.
He's just constantly flexing so
Yes.
hard.
That was really
I
good.
thought that was a great bit.
Yes, a lot of the humor in the show still works. Like I would say all the humor in the show is great aside from the Tamaki stuff. Fire Force was always a very funny show. The Arthur stuff being, to me anyway, the funniest stuff in here. And
oh yeah, Arthur's stuff is basically peak.
yeah, Arthur is peak comedy in the show. It's everything he does, everything he says, every scene he is involved in is fucking funny. So that's why he's probably my favorite character in this show. So
I think he's everyone's favorite character.
I would hope so. I would hope so. People would see beyond him being an idiot. But yeah, so this was one of the examples where this is also was also incredibly funny. Like the stuff him flexing all the time, everyone complimenting his muscles to give him power is also hilarious. Like, that's good shit, and that works even without good animation. So, I guess the parts where the comedy is done in this season, which is not that much actually, is where the season shines, because this is where the missing animation quality is not as noticeable. So, yeah. Due to his name and his ability to transform his body into that of an infernal, Dragon activates Arthur's LARP powers, and Arthur is even able to conjure a cool protective cape. But it's not enough. Dragon destroys Arthur's weapon Excalibur. There's one good, very short Sakuga scene in this episode where they fight, where it's like, oh, finally, we're getting there. And after that, it's right back to the lower quality. So that was a bummer. We have Joker and Shinra who can't get past Burns to remove the insect from Obi's body, who can't flex forever. So there's a bit of a tense timer counter on this, right? Or timer counting down. So that's neat. And Burns powers to more and more stages, like John mentions. It gets more and more powerful with every passing episodes. Problem is the fight between Shinra and Burns just doesn't look that good. Not even.
It feels like it doesn't really go anywhere.
No, exactly. Like they fight, they're
fighting each other to a stalemate, and it's like, okay,
yeah, and then a doppelganger appears, Burns' doppelganger anyway, and takes him to Adela or whatever. And I don't even know why that happens at this point. Maybe because he stopped fighting Shinra or whatever, or he lost. Yeah, he lost. Shinra kicks him. At least he doesn't really lose. Like you said, it's more of a stalemate because he's still awake and still conscious and still might be able to fight. But it seems like he is, at least for now, taken out a bit, and then he gets impaled or whatever by his doppelganger and taken to Adela. So that's it for now. He probably will come back in one way or another, or they all gonna travel to Adela or whatever and have a final fight there. I don't know. But yeah, it's lackluster. It's like it's missing the impact that it needed. This might partially be also because of the manga material and what they're doing with it. But if this fight looked like the standout fights in season 1 and 2, you probably wouldn't have noticed as much, and it would just have been awesome. I'm gonna laugh so hard if by the end of this it turns out that Fire Force is a prequel to Soul Eater and or Adela actually being the world from that show or something like that. But so far, I think the smiling / grinning moon, just like Death Size cameo in season 2, were just fun nods to Okubo's other famous work and nothing more. But that's just, the moon just constantly is there and just like, what? Why is this suddenly the case?
Yeah, I wonder about... I feel like that isn't there for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I don't know. It might just be a fun cameo. Like I said, like the Death Scythe thing. Just being there, hey, here, this is from the same guy who did Soul Eater. So,
But I also didn't read or watch Soul Eater, so...
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they will probably clarify that by the end. I don't feel like there's anything in Soul Eater that... Maybe the universe gets rebooted by the end of this, and then it suddenly turns out Shinra Soul Eater or whatever. I don't fucking know. That wouldn't match his character, but
that would be a thing.
I mean, they both have like jaggy teeth, so who knows? We'll see. But yeah, Iris blocks Dragon's attack with Divine Grace. Don't remember, not sure if she has unleashed her power before, but we know that she has some connection to the girl inside of Amaterasu, right? Because Shinra has seen that girl and said she looks like Iris. So there's something going on between those two, and I'm interested to see what they do with her and what her role in all of this is. Because so far she's been on the side, she's done the praying and so on. She hasn't really done anything else in the fights, and this is her first real, like, powerful interaction or turning around the tides of the battle with her powers that we didn't even see before this. And will be interesting to see what role she has to play in the final stretch of the story. Inka, our future seeing girl, or medium, whatever, spoils that the 8th will survive this right before Benimaru arrives with the stupid masks.
Say, no, it's not Benimaru, it's a Moonlight Mask.
Moonlight Mask, yes. Nobody buys that disguise in quotes.
Who could it be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But it was fun. Like, it was fun him appearing and Kororo making that mask for him, which matches his eyes. So that's cool. But yeah, the crew escapes with Obi unscathed and everything. You know, all well that ends well, I guess. Some of the White-clad destroyers taken out and everything. Everyone from our team survived. And they escape again in the direction of the town where Company 7 resides. I forgot the name of that district. But yeah, the next small mini arc bit has Hibana going to the ruins of the Sand Raffles convent where she was part of together with Iris as a child that burned down at some point because all the other sisters, young sisters in this convent turned into infernals. And she is going there to investigate the origin of the doppelgangers. She's intending to go there alone, but Karim and Hoyan, or however his name is pronounced, join up with her after the fact to find proof that the girls that were part of the convent, all named after flowers, were fed dollar insects, which is Sibana's suspicion. And I don't know how far the show has even talked about doppelgangers before. I think it's in the very last episode. Like, doppelgangers are another version of you that exists in a dollar. It feels kind of like this concept came out of nowhere because doppelgangers were only mentioned before this season at the tail end of the previous season by Conroe when he talks about the demon infernal he fought previously that seemed eerily similar to him in terms of power set, and that fight caused his tephrosis and everything. I remember that much. But I don't think the term doppelganger was really used after that. So when the concept was reintroduced this season, it was really confusing for a while because the show treated it like it was this well-known thing among our main actors. And it's like, wait, what are doppelgangers again? When were these introduced?
Yeah, they sort of... You're right. They did touch on it previously. Like, you touched on it the lightest touch previously. And then they're all like, oh, we're going to learn about doppelgangers. And I'm just sitting here like, wait. Huh?
Yes, but the problem is they used the term before that, like it was just like everyone knew about it. And it was super weird. And Conroe, I don't even know if Conroe used the term doppelgangers. I think he just said something like this person, or this demon I fought had the same powers as I did, almost like a doppelganger. Right? And that was the extent of that. And then in this season, everyone is talking about them like they're like a well-established thing and what they are. And it's like Hibana explains all of this to us. Hey, here, there are other versions of you that exist in Adola, and I'm like, what? Okay, how she studied? We see her studying up on that, but where did she read that? And what? Okay.
I wonder if that was talked about in a little better detail in the manga.
Maybe it was some of the material that was cut. But then again, like you said, John, the pacing of this season is all over the place. So it feels like, why did you even cut that? Like, it's not like you had that much story to tell in the season that you did. So what? It was weird.
A weirdly small amount of story across 40 chapters.
Yes, exactly. So probably more extensive elaboration on that in the manga. But yeah, we learned that the head sister, or one of the head sisters from the convent, is responsible for this. She is, I don't know what she is. She's probably, she's also working with the White Clad. We don't know. She's probably also from a dollar. Maybe she has like these vibration powers. Can make anything vibrate in a different frequency and cause, I don't know, earthquakes and such shit like that. And I think also open doors to a dollar. I'm not sure. But yeah, she, once that is revealed, we learn more about the whole Adolan doppelganger shit. Like the population of doppelgangers in Adola equals the one in the normal world. So everyone has a double. And when they try to become one with the people in the normal world, human combustion happens. Unless you are powerful enough to withstand it, then it lets you borrow their powers, which is, I guess, what happens to Nataku and who else did we have that got fed these? I mean, probably Shinra, right? I mean, my assumption is that everyone who has fire powers and didn't turn into an infernal got at some point maybe stung by an insect or something like that. I'm not sure.
That makes sense, but it's still not clear.
Yeah, I'm not. They haven't fully clarified it. If some of this stuff is just, genetics, and if your father had fire powers, you also inherit fire powers, or if this is all the insects or something like that. But at least some of them get that. That's how it works for them. And if they are not powerful enough, they will get just taken over by their infernal doppelganger and cease to exist. We have this really harrowing scene where she's like, where the sisters, the friends of Hibana and Iris just appear as these small children infernals and are saying, "It burns, it hurts so much, help me." Really cruel moment. And gets Hibana understandably riled up and everything. So she's probably gonna take out Sumire in the final stretch of the show. If there's enough time for having all these clashes, I mean, there's so many White Clad left and so many people to fight each other. I wonder how they're going to fit all of that into 12 episodes.
They're setting so much up, and it's like...
Yeah.
But like I said, it's either got to be more than 12 episodes or...
movie wrap up?
Something. Like... It's not going to feel great if they condense 80 chapters down to 12 episodes.
It didn't feel great when they did it for 40 chapters for this season, so...
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we learned that the first Great Cataclysm was a failure. Whatever Sumire intended to do didn't work because the number of pillars was insufficient. But that also means she has been around for 250 years. Someone like Yona, I assume. She was one of the previous pillars, and, she's powerful, unexpectedly so, considering her outer appearance. But maybe that's not her real appearance, just like with Yona. But yeah, the three fire company people can escape due to the interference of the woman in black we met in season 2. That is the core of the second Amaterasu reactor the team found in the forest with all the animals. And then, after this small bit, we have the best thing in this season. Like, bar none, the best part of season 3, because Vulcan and Arthur go on a quest to find some real Orichalcon to reforge Excalibur, because, as expected, the previous version of Excalibur was not made from that metal, that legendary ore, but from some generic heat-resistant material found at a home improvement store.
What do you mean it wasn't Orichalcum? What?
Of course, the entire quest is make-believe because that legendary ore does not exist, and Vulcan knows that. He ropes in Lisa and you and tells them to dumb themselves down to Arthur's level to make this fantasy work. Because he thinks like, hey, as long as we can deliver a convincing performance, Arthur, whatever metal I use to forge his new sword, Arthur will believe that it's the legendary sword now, which will make him more powerful because Arthur's entire power level, Arthur's power level is entirely based in him being able to live his fantasy that he cocks up in his head of him being the Night King and everything, living in a JRPG and everything. So Vulcan has this all laid out. For example, he has normal shopkeepers repeat the same script over and over again to make Arthur believe it's like an NPC in an old school RPG, that is fucking amazing. Like, to even think about this little detail. Like, this whole segment is incredible and garnished with some nice 8/16-bit styled graphics to match the look of the theme. It's just, hey, this is where this season shined, in the comedy bits that are not necessarily like super well animated, but that have great design choices, great humor, great comedy bits, some nice character parts and everything. And I love that. I assume it was the same for you, John.
Oh, of course. Like, this basically fool's errand that they go on was probably one of the best parts of this season.
Oh, for sure. It was the best part for me. The problem is Arthur is so stupid that he misinterprets one of the hints and decides that the Orihaka must be in the Nether.
Everyone else is like, no.
Which is where
Sir
the
Knight, it's over this way.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it has to be in the Nether. And
Yes.
everyone's like, oh, okay, this is a whole thing now.
And Arthur's parents are alive for some reason. Like,
somehow
they run into the Nether. We learned they had to escape due to their accumulated debt and are now pretending to lead a resistance in the Nether. So Arthur was abandoned by his irresponsible parents and based his entire fantasy persona on the lie they wrote on the note when they left, which we already saw in the first season. This is also very sad, but also unbelievably hilarious. It's so cruel. But there is a plot twist, because it actually turns out they know everything about what is going on with the government and Evangelist and the Holy Soul Temple, because Arthur's dad can apparently see the truth of this world whenever he retreats into his own fantasies. I was just completely baffled by this. Like, does he have a connection with the author of the manga? There's another thing happening at the end of the season, which has me like, is this show gonna go into massive fourth wall breaking at the end? Like, I wouldn't put it past it, but this was the first moment was like, what is going on? What is happening? Is this a bit? Is this a joke? Is this something substantial? And they also had 3 kids in the Nether, all while pretending they couldn't take Arthur with them because it was too dangerous. The amount of scumbaggery here is astounding. It completely appalls you, who is on the verge of losing his mind anyway, and absolutely is the audience surrogate here. I felt so sorry for that kid. He's really...
I don't get it. How could they have 3 more kids and leave him behind?
Because they're assholes. They're horrible people.
I guess, but it's like, what?
They're like the worst. And I think the show states that kind of outright. Oh, the Boyle family loves their freedom, I guess. It's like... thankfully, Arthur isn't registering any of this, since they found the headpiece of a space rocket in his parents' trash collection that make him fantasize about having a sword made from space metal. So, yeah. And right after that, he gets abandoned by his parents yet again, a second time. But all well that ends well, because now he has a proper sword, I guess. This is also deeply fucked up, and also the best and darkly funniest thing in the show. What an amazing character. It's incredible. Like, this whole segment, just, I was at the edge of my seat. It was like, what is going on? What are you doing to my boy? It's just, amazing.
They really hate you with this, and then they disappear, and it's like, what?
Yes, it's just, wow, your parents are real shitbags, Arthur, but apparently he doesn't care anymore. He's just so deeply entrenched in his own fantasies. He's not processing any of this. He's just completely gone. Like, you can't get him out of there. But he's happy, I guess. He's happy living this night fantasy and being part of Company 8. Hey, if that makes him happy, if he can deal with this loss of his parents like that. And he doesn't seem to hold any grudge towards him. Like, it's okay, but holy shit, what a fucked up background story. It's so horrible. But it's funny. So, show Shinra's brother at this point, and I talked about this when I talked about the loyalty relationships between some of the characters on the villain side of things. He starts formulating his own will aside from serving the will of the evangelist and decides to meet his brother. Arrow follows, as she is protector and loyal to him above any other master. We have Scop, the little mole, appearing in Tokyo. He was from the gang ran into him in season 2. He can talk and tells a way too elaborate story about his journey to Tokyo and how he came up with a Shoryuken. And at this point, all the pillars have gathered, and the Cataclysm ritual is about to begin. We meet the last pillar, Fairy, who doesn't have a protector, but is one of the White-clad already. According to the exposition mole, for the Cataclysm to succeed, humanity had to evolve to a level where they could calculate/decipher pi. And the key Giovanni stole from Vulcan in the first season is ostensibly able to do that. So everything is coming together. It's like, what was that even about? And now we know, oh, okay, that's cool. And the pi stuff was introduced in the second season. So it's all, it's all coming together. And we finally understand why all of this had to happen, why it took so long to enact the second Cataclysm and everything. Sumire summons an actual 500-meter tall pillar in the Tokyo Bay, and apparently also a giant kaiju that protects it. When all 8 pillars are summoned, the Cataclysm will have begun, or so Licht states. And like I said, the artillery attack of Unit 2 against the kaiju looks pretty cool. We have Juggernaut trying to shoot at the kaiju and Shinra blocking it, leaving him unconscious for a while. Because according to Scop, the pillar is a plug for a giant underwater volcano, of course. I guess that makes sense, like that is how the Cataclysm is happening. Like if all of the 8 pillars are somehow plugs for this network of volcanoes and all of those are pulled out or destroyed at the same time, then the world will be engulfed in flames probably. So that seems to be the long-term or the ultimate plan or what they intend to do. Unconscious Shinra is about to be abducted by Fairy, who seems to be able to control gravity, but Sho interferes to save his brother. Which also, again, I was like, oh, this is gonna look good, right? And then him jumping on the arrows of Arrow just looks so stiff and flimsy. And it's like, this could have looked so cool with the proper amount of Sakuga, him moving around Fairy like this. It's like, these are the... Because Fairy makes fun of this, like, this is such a weird protector attack. I would have been the perfect protector for you. Why using her? And shows like, no, these are exactly the way where they're supposed to be. They're not like off focus or whatever. Because I need to get to you, and I'm using them as stairs, as ladders. That was super cool, and if that would have been a super fast animation, it would have been very nice.
Yeah, it was neat, but it was just lacking some punch to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like most of the season in terms of animation.
I mean, Fairy's gravity power was kind of neat. Just like a little disorienting seeing someone falling upward into the sky, but, in context, I guess it makes sense.
Yes. I mean, it looks like he's changing the way the world is aligned, right? And they switch, they turn the screen upside down and everything. Suddenly characters are falling towards the sky, but I think he's just changing the gravitational force of the specific characters, right? And that's why they're moving around suddenly, which is cool. Sho saying there was no sense of impact when he slashes at Fairy is heavily ironic, because that's exactly what I've been thinking about most of the fights in the season. So it's like, you don't say.
Don't do them like that, dang.
And yeah, we have Kurno fighting the Titan, and his final attack was one of the real Sakuga moments in the show. It looked really cool with this like black soot form and everything. So wildly inconsistent animation levels at this point, because right after that it goes back to looking very, and then we have the weird stuff with Fairy and Sho, which doesn't look good, and then you have this. You have one scene with Ogon, which looks pretty damn good. Then it goes back to not looking good. Then it goes to the Kurono final attack against the Titan, which looks great. So I'm like, what? Do we have like one guy on your team or two who can still deliver full Sakuga moments, but they can only do like one small 2-second scene every like 10 episodes or something? I don't know, but that was kind of it. And yeah, we have like the Titan, the destroyed Titan, I think, like his essence or its essence or whatever goes to the pillar and turns it into black. I don't know if that will eventually destroy it. Maybe. That was interesting. We have Shinra forming a dollar link with Inca, and they both travel to the past, which is the final thing that happens in this season. To the past, specifically right before the first cataclysm happens. Shit gets super wild. We see a bunch of photographs from our reality, which Shinra is still animated, and that could be a style choice, right? Or, to save money, because they don't have to animate those photographs, of course. But he also says, what are these beings that look kind of like people? So does he recognize that he, as a drawing, is different from our world? Like, from our three-dimensional world? Is this, like, more fourth wall breaking? About that. Yeah, this was the other moment, aside from the weird stuff with the power set of Arthur's dad, where it's like, now we have this mixed reality thing going on, and we see someone crumbling up a piece of paper in that flashback, or we see a photograph of that, and I'm like, is this gonna do a, like, we are all characters in a story thing? It was I was really interested in it. I was like, okay, where are you going with this? And Inca states, like, you're gonna fall in love with me. So I assume whatever the characters they transported to that are their previous incarnations from 250 years ago or whatever had a relationship, which is something we will probably see in the next season. Again, more shit. Like, we have so much stuff already in terms of what fights and character plot threads in the fights need to be resolved, aside from all the fucking apocalypse shit. And then we have now this weird flashback stuff that also needs to be resolved, like, that hints at some bigger thing happening in the background. And I don't know how they will fucking remotely be able to do this in 12 episodes, John. I have no idea.
They've built up so much, and yet they've done so little. It's so weird.
Yeah, we end this first core on a blonde, ostensibly older version of Shinra being tied to a bed, and a news report on the TV next to him states that a fifth pillar has appeared. So, right before the advent of the first great cataclysm is where we are left off in this. And I don't know what to make of this. I don't know how they're possibly gonna wrap all of this shit up. No idea, at least not even remotely in a satisfying way. I'm very worried about the finale of this show, especially since people already were very skeptical about them being able to cram all that's left of the manga into a 24-episode season. And considering the pacing of this season, not to mention the huge downgrade in animation quality, I'm really doubtful they will be able to wrap this up in a satisfying manner.
I really, really hope they don't cram it all into the next 12 episodes, man.
That's what they seem to be intending to do.
I feel like that'd be doing a great disservice to it, though.
It would be horrible. It will be a nightmare. It will be an absolute rush job. Like, the fights will not be long enough, if they even are animated at all. There will be not enough character. They will probably cut a lot of the explanations out of it, so none of that shit will make sense. And they will probably, like, skip a lot of the character development that's gonna happen. So it's gonna be like an absolute clusterfuck. I don't see if the next part that's airing in January is only gonna have 12 episodes, and if this is truly the last thing we're gonna get out of Fire Force, this is gonna be a disaster. I really hope we're gonna get more than just these 12 episodes that are coming up.
I mean, let's try to be positive about this. They didn't say it's the final season. It's the third season.
Did they?
So
I'm not sure. I've read conflicting things. I have read, like, reports that they confirmed that this is the final season.
Unless it's the final season and then they do, like,
the final season episode
or something.
Part, like Attack on Titan did it.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I would be totally fine with that. I don't give a shit if they name, like, if we have, like, 4 more seasons that are all named the final season, whatever arc. I don't care. Do that. But don't fucking let it end in 12 episodes. You will not be able to do this. Like, and David Production is not known for doing this. Like, all the previous projects we've seen, or, I mean, we don't, let's say all the JoJo stuff. I don't feel like, reading from all the stuff that came out of that, I don't feel like they cut any substantial bits out of that or changed the ending to a negative degree where it didn't make sense anymore. I feel like they even upgraded the stuff from Stone Ocean, I think, where it made more sense than it did in the manga, if I remember correctly. And added some stuff that added more context that made the ending make more sense. So that's the opposite of fucking it up in that regard and cutting shit out. And I feel the same, I think, for Captain Tsubasa, the adaptation of that I saw. So why Fire Force of all things would get that treatment is completely beyond me, considering how much effort they put into the first 2 seasons. Makes me ask the question again, what the fuck happened?
I'm
so worried.
Look it up.
We'll see.
I had to look it up because, I guess I missed that it was the, quote, 3rd and final season. But, again, maybe there'll be movies after. Maybe the second core will be longer. I mean, that's highly unlikely in anime production, but, I don't want to see this show that we have mostly enjoyed.
Yes. Love the first 2 seasons.
Just fall on its face and fumble at the goal line.
Yes, that's always very disappointing and frustrating and so hard to understand. Like, if it's maybe it was a money thing, maybe the budget went something as the marketing budget went something else, so they had to make do with what they had for this. Maybe the people just generally left the animation studio and went to another studio. Maybe they didn't have enough personnel anymore. I don't fucking know what happened here.
Or just got deprioritized.
If it changed studios, I would totally understand the downgrade in quality. But at the same studio, this happening at the same studio that produced the first 2 seasons and that looked incredible and that was well written and everything and had solid pacing, and now this studio giving us that season, I don't understand. It's just so fucking weird.
I always think of Golden Kamuy, how it started off as being like, I will not mince words, the first season production-wise is a mess, but then Geno Studio in seasons 2 and 3, they stepped it up super hard before it got handed off to Brainspace. So it was like, it was cool to see them build it up like that. Yes. But
this is the reverse of that. And again, we don't know what the reason for this is. I wonder, I mean, I looked a bit for that, but I've only seen like assumptions being made. I've not seen any clear information of what actually was the reason for the animation downgrade and for them trying to do all of this in another 24 episode season. Maybe because the manga is wrapped up and they can't use it as advertisement anymore for coming chapters or something like that. Maybe that's why it was cut short. I don't fucking know.
I mean, the manga has been over for almost 2 years at this point. So, like,
I mean, hasn't it been almost 2 years since the end of season 2?
Oh, God, you're right.
So that kind of aligns with that.
What is time?
So, yeah, maybe that was the whole reason. I don't know. But it's still, just fucking finish your show the right way. Like
2 years, excuse me, almost 3 years. Over 3 years. I was going off the dates of the Tankobon.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe eventually we'll learn what happened. And the only thing we can do now is hope that the final part of season 3 of this show is gonna give us a somewhat satisfying ending in some way or another. But I have my doubts. But hope is all we have left at this point. So
this is actually a rare case where the entire manga is actually all translated as well, apparently.
Yeah. And maybe, depending on how the ending of this shakes out, I will go back and read the manga, at least the final arc of this in the manga, to see what the intended ending of this was. But yeah, first we'll see.
That's something I would like to do as well if it shakes out poorly.
I always want to do this for Soul Eater as well, because that had an anime original ending, which could happen here as well.
I kind of wanted to do that for Attack on Titan, but our friends were like, you started anime only, you're going to finish anime only and not spoil the ending. And I was like, fine. And then when they changed parts of that, it was like, oh.
Yeah. It feels like probably it was better to experience it in anime form first because of some of the missteps that the manga did, I guess.
Yeah.
And the anime walking some of that back a bit and trying to put more context to that and giving us more of an epilogue and everything. So, it's probably not the worst choice to go anime first here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Fire Force. We'll know in January. But yeah, John, where can people watch?
I can't believe it's almost January though.
Yes.
Like when the show started, and you're like, oh, there's going to be 2 cours, and part 2 is going to be in January. I was like, God, that's so long way, and now it's almost October. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. Where can people watch this season or the half of this season of Fire Force?
You could watch it on Crunchyroll. You could watch it on Hulu. I'm sure it's on other services, depending on depending on where you live. It's also on Netflix as well. So it is accessible.
If you want to. I do understand if you don't. I've heard from several people who stopped watching because of this season, which I can understand. We'll see what the final part has to offer. And I hope we will not get off this completely disillusioned with long-running anime series. I mean, we had some good ones we brought to a close, but I would have liked to for Fire Force to be also one of those. Right now, it doesn't look like it will be. I mean, we still have the first 2 seasons, but like I said, if it starts strong and ends on a sour note, you remember that sour note. That's
I mean, the first 2 seasons might still be there, and they're still great, but for anyone who wants to finish the story, they'll either have to shift to the manga or just, ignore that season 3 exists. Kind of like, wait, how many seasons was Shokugeki no Soma? Oh, that's right. It was 4. There wasn't a season 5.
That's true. It ended on the best season. Season 4. Yeah. All right. That's it for our review of Fire Force Season 3 Part 1. Next one will follow in the not too distant future. But before we leave you for summer and move over to fall, there's still one little thing we have to do. Best of the season! All right, best of the season time. John, what you got?
Fire Force Season 3. I'm kidding. I do think there are things to like about Season 3, but it's obviously, I don't think it's even close to being in the running, which is unfortunate. It was nice to see the Girls of Lycoris Recoil back, but, that was also, a short thing. So I don't think it should also be in the running, but, hopefully it is. That it means there are other bigger, better things in the future for it. So hopefully we'll see.
High chances that it will get itself a Best of the Season award when the next big thing, whatever that is, comes out of that franchise. Very high chance. So let's see.
Gundam Quux was neat in concept, but it definitely kind of fell flat on its face toward the end, which is unfortunate because it had the potential to be something really cool. I kind of feel the same about Lazarus, but a little bit lesser negative about it because it's still a cool story with neat characters, but it just didn't. I don't feel like it was up there for me, so I think I'm probably going to go with Rock is a Lady's Modesty.
Seems like that makes sense.
Yeah, because all the characters were great. The music was great. The through line on the story was just so strong. Seeing, Lilisa relighting her passion for rap music and making all these friends along the way and turning her adoptive sister onto her side. So, it was just a really strong story with a lot of great beats. Get it? Because it's also musical.
Got it.
So, yeah, I think that's a pretty strong contender, and I think it's probably my choice for this season.
Cool. Sounds like a good pick.
Hmm. So, what's yours?
Well, here's something that never happened before. Usually, I either know my best of the season picks or have trouble deciding, immediately, or have trouble deciding between several amazing shows. But this time, I don't feel particularly strong about any of the shows this season. Like Lazarus and G-Quack started strong.
Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, but the wheels came hard off those shows by the end of their run, so I don't feel like I'm giving it to them. The most likely candidate is My Hero Academia Vigilantes because I consistently enjoyed that show, but it's also very episodic and doesn't have any real story to speak of yet. Good character bits, definitely, and I like the cast. But it's like, okay, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop there. And Fire Force we just talked about, like, ruined most of the Ghost will build towards it with the 2 previous incredible seasons by delivering thoroughly disappointing animation for most of this one, plus pacing issues. If I gave Fire Force the award, it would be for Arthur and only him, because he's my king and deserves my loyalty, but the problem is Fire Force never got any rewards from us for its previous 2 seasons, and considering the quality of the third one, it's probably not gonna get it for the second part of that either.
Yeah, it's kind of a crime,
Yeah.
honestly.
So, since it's our show and we love to have our cake and eat it too, I'm gonna give my Best of the Season award to Fire Force, but retroactively for season 1 and 2, and only the Arthur bits in season 3.
Okay, there. You know what? That works.
I will specifically mention that in the Best of the Season entry on our site. Because, hey, I just rewatched season 1 and 2 and had a fantastic time. Those seasons deserve it, and they haven't gotten it yet, so fuck it. That's my pick for Best of the Season. It's the previous 2 seasons of Fire Force and the Arthur storylines and moments from this one. Because, yeah, also animation-wise, he got the best almost the best fucking parts in this show.
Yeah.
In this season. So he got everything good is Arthur-related in this. So, yeah.
We didn't even mention that the reason he was late to the fight was because he fell out of the truck.
Yes, it happens. It can happen to anyone. He's so relatable. But yeah.
Wait, where's Arthur? He was with us. God, that kid.
But yeah, so it's a cheat. We love to cheat here when it comes to Best of the Season, but I'm okay with this because I felt, after looking at our Best of the Season, and realized that we never gave it to Fire Force because it had such strong contenders when in the
what was
season.
it even up against that we picked?
It was up against B-Stars at one point, for example. Ooh. It was up against... Oh, I looked this up. It was up against Akudama Drive.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's tough because those are great choices too.
Yes. So it lost out, and at that point I was like, it's gonna get. I mean, I'm giving it to the final season. It's gonna be fine. And had I known,
maybe part 2 will be better.
Well,
cross your fingers. Knock on wood.
That's all we can do. And hope is all we have, and that's what we leave you with for the end of this season. But fall season is right around the corner. Looks a bit like slim pickings, judging from the listings on, AnyChart and stuff like that. But there's some stuff that I will take a look at, definitely, and definitely some returning shows that I will check out. So, until then, get ready for the cold seasons I get.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, I do want to. I'm in the mood for hoodie weather. So, yeah. All right.
Joke's on you. I wear a hoodie all year round because the office I work in is so cold.
All right. But yeah, looking forward to talking to you guys soon and give you our impressions on some of the premieres in the sneak peek. Until then, take care, everyone.
See you guys around.
And that is a wrap on the 171st episode of Anime Brain Freeze. All the music in our podcast is from the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack by the amazing Jay Kaufman. Please go to virt.bandcamp.com and check out his awesome work. Find us where all the podcasts live, but also check out animebrainfreeze.com for our review index and more. Please leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice if you can. Follow us on the socials or send an email to animebrainfreeze@gmail.com. We would love to read your feedback. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you had a good time, and please join us again on our next episode. Macht's gut.
Take care, everybody. Next time on Anime Brain Freeze.
Con Air.
Assassination Classroom.
What show are we even watching anymore?